Hello everyone, and thank you for watching the first video and for all your feedback on my first video. Plenty for me to think about going forward into my second vlog, which is this one, but also for future episodes as well. I've been humbled by some of the supportive comments that I've received as well. It's been really lovely. So hopefully I'll continue to create some engaging content at least. But yeah, so this is my second vlog. And coming up in this edition, what can you expect? Well, first, man kicks ball at goal. Kit bag capers, bioluminescent or whatever they're necessary. Bamboozled by boot choice options. But first, the main purpose of this edition will be to talk about the Rainbow Laces campaign, which is 10 years old this year. It was first set up by Stonewall, the LGBT charity, and the purpose is obviously to try and make LGBTQ issues more visible on the football pitch. And with me here I have a little something which is actually Rainbow Laces packet, and on the packet, if this isn't back to front, it just says "Make sport everyone's game," and it also calls upon allies. It says it's down to you to be an active ally. And the first time I can remember Rainbow Laces was about 10 years ago. I think the team I support is called Everton, and the football captain for Everton also played for England, was called Phil Jagielka, and he was in the media at the time and he was supporting the campaign. And I think it made a difference to me because at that point I was a young adult, but to be honest, it was the first time I had seen football really make any kind of effort on LGBTQ inclusion. And sort of Phil Jagielka had given interviews where he said that he would be perfectly fine having a gay teammate, and that he was proud to wear the rainbow laces as well. But yeah, I think it has been 10 years on, a positive campaign, but at the same time a little bit problematic in the fact that we're down the line, we are still dealing with a lot of the issues that we had, and you could argue, well, have we really made a lot of progress? And I think we have to say to start with that actually there aren't really many campaigns or LGBTQ inclusion campaigns. So if they don't make progress, we have to look and sort of try to understand why that might be. And it's on all of us to try and do better as well, but also to understand actually that if it is the campaign, then we do need to support it and find ways to make it better, but also support the campaigns that we do have as well. And I think that a key statement on these laces is that it's down to you to be an active ally. Calls upon, perhaps it's the elephant in the room, it calls upon straight people to do their bit to help make everyone feel welcome. And some of the viewers who are straight may remember as well, I think when in the 90s, growing up, there were very, very prominent campaigns. It started with kick racism out of football and then kick it out. And those were very prominent in the 90s and then into the noughties. So anti-racism almost seemed to be maybe 10, 15 years ahead of LGBTQ inclusion, but it requires, I think, the same sustained effort to reach that kind of position where racism was driven to the margins of society, arguably quite a lot by football. But I think that homophobia and hatred would be driven to the margins if more effort was made and there were sort of more steps taken to try and support gay people, really. I think things to think about are that in terms of things like homelessness, you're more likely to be homeless as a young person if you are gay or from an LGBTQ background, perhaps when your family doesn't accept you and doesn't want you in the house anymore. And it feels like that's kind of bizarre that would happen in 2023 in Britain. I think it's wrong, but it does still happen. People still need support for that when they have to leave home. And also there's people who carry a weight when they're in the closet, and they never know how their family will react to them. So perhaps they only come out once they've left home as an adult, or perhaps they never come out. But football has always felt, perhaps to some of us as gay or LGBTQ people, that we have to be silent, we have to hide who we are. And I think actually it is incumbent on everybody within the game of football, from the top, from the Premier League down to the grassroots, and from the terraces through to our communities, to try and change the culture within football, but also within society if we can. It won't end all prejudice and hatred, but I think that the Kick It Out campaign with racism really made huge steps of actually isolating and really putting racists back in their box, to be honest, in a corner, out of society, unacceptable, their hatred. So we can get to that point, but it does take sustained effort, really. Just to perhaps conclude, to look at where we are now, we could look at how lots of clubs are making more of an effort, but it does feel like there's one step forward, two steps back. The red side, that I don't like to mention the name of, had a player who was very prominent, and he played for England, Jordan Henderson, who was a very prominent gay ally, but now he's gone to Saudi Arabia and completely ditched that, and almost joined the homophobes FC in Saudi Arabia for a huge amount of money. And that undermines efforts. So when we see things like FIFA in recent weeks looking to host a World Cup in Saudi Arabia, following on from Qatar last year, these are not places that are at all welcoming to gay people. Saudi Arabia still executes gay people. So I don't see how a worldwide tournament can really respect people's human rights if a gay player goes to that tournament. How safe are they going to feel? And if a gay supporter goes to that tournament, how safe are they going to feel? I don't think it's right, but money talks in the game. But if money can talk to allow these sort of countries to host the World Cup, then surely money can talk as well to force these countries to change their cultures as well, and to try and respect human rights, or in those countries and around the world as well. But also back here at home, I think that the fact that we have the rainbow laces and it's 10 years old is a really good thing. But it also highlights as well that change is slow and gradual. My team is Everton, and this season there was the creation, alongside the kit manufacturer Hummel, of an inclusive kit, limited edition that they made and were selling online. But there was a bit of a backlash among some people on social media and on Twitter and things like that, bringing out homophobia. And I know that people at Rainbow Toffees, which is the LGBTQ fan group with Everton, had a difficult time calling out that homophobia as well, but it was important to do. But I think it does still show actually that clubs are making those efforts, but it shows with something like a Jordan Henderson moment how quickly it undermines, that progress can be undermined. It's very fragile, so I think that we do still need to keep working hard to challenge homophobia and transphobia and all forms of prejudice within the game of football as well. I'm looking to buy a new pair of football boots to go with my rainbow laces, because the boots that I've got are really, really horrible. They're really smelly, and I'll say it out loud because I don't think Facundo can hear me, but I'm not allowed to put the boots on, or my socks for that matter, inside the house, because they're that bad. I leave them in the boot of the car. The football pitches we play on have little pieces of rubber, and they get everywhere. They go all over the house, and they're impossible to hoover them up. I'm always finding new tiny little pieces of rubber from the pitch that make the pitch soft. So I try not to bring them into the house. But so these are the two main sports stores next door to each other in Brighton. But maybe I need to also try and find a more local sports brand as well, to see if a local store or an independent store has some better options for me. this time in Sports Direct. It's dominated by 3 companies, which is Adidas, Puma, and down there is Nike. I'm taking a look at, I usually get Adidas trainers and Adidas boots, but the last pair is Adidas and they're a little bit uncomfy, but I'm looking at the different colours, perhaps of a new boot. I always go with basic black, but maybe it's time to branch out on the colour. They actually look quite golden on the camera, but they're very, very orange in fact. Quite like the pink. The pink one's there maybe. There's blue. What do you think about the colours, babe?
I prefer the pink one.
You like the pink one?
So cute, yeah.
Maybe it's time for a change of colour. I wonder if they have this one in my size or in my price range. Let's see what the companies, the 3 main companies tend to dominate the market, and then there's Umbro here as well, which is part of the Nike group. But maybe I need to do something a little bit more. I'm usually a bit of a basic bitch, as it were, with the football boots, and maybe I need some colour. So I remember when Predators first came out, they looked very different to this, but the ridges on the boot still are there. They used to, when we were kids, they used to say, oh, it used to help you swerve the ball or bend it like Beckham, as it used to be back then. But looking at the boots around here, it would be remiss of me not to mention the obvious, that there's these Lionel Messi, the Argentinian striker and World Cup winner from the past winter in Qatar, and the boots here as well. I mean, I dare not ask the price of these. A lot, I think, but would wearing a pair of boots like this make you as good as Messi? I think I'm more just Messi with a Y than Messi with an I, to be honest. One is a blast from the past. Anyone who remembers the football in the 90s remembers Puma King, with basically mitre footballs, and the Football League, muddy football pitches, Filbert Street probably as well. But I actually quite like the traditional black boot like this.
It's classic, I like
It's very classic. I do like the classic, and if they've got it in my size, maybe I'll try it on. So that's the classic one. If they've got it in my size, I'll try it on. But I quite like the pink suggestion as well. The guy is looking to see if he can find me a size with a pink colour in the size 7 that I'd like, but I don't think they've got it in stock. So time to remove the Converse, which have got an outing today, and see how these Nike ones fit. That camera's better camera. It's very nice. Very classic. I can use it with the rainbow laces as well, to change the laces for rainbow laces.
highlight very well.
What you think about which boot colour or design that you'd like. I looked at the Messi, I've looked at the white boots that are like an old footballer player from the 1960s called Alan Ball, and yeah, some other designs as well. The thing that I've not intended to do was to come in and buy a boring black pair of football boots, which is what I always do. However, that is the pair I've picked up, but I've also balked a little bit at the price. I've looked at the price and gone, ooh, shit. So I'm not sure really. I'd like some colour, but yeah, it's not always easy to find things that you want in the stores. So you see here that Cristiano Ronaldo is still very prevalent on the Nike side of things, whereas Lionel Messi is on the Adidas side. Who knows how many millions they're paid for that? A lot, I would imagine. So yeah, I have a decision to make, but let me know what you think in terms of the comments, if you've got any ideas about which colour I should pick. So I've just got home from work, a bit tired. I'm late home from work because of the traffic. I'm going to go to training tonight after work, and yeah, it's a highlight of my week really, going to training. It's just nice to go and get rid of some frustration and to play football for a bit and to see some friends and that kind of thing. So I'll be getting ready, and then I'll show you guys sort of our training sessions and tonight, I think. So for the first time for many months since last year, I'm wearing the thermal under thing for, well, yeah, it keeps me warm anyway. So it's like a thermal layer, and so I suppose it's what to expect from November. But recently it's been very stormy and very rainy, but quite mild. But tonight it's actually quite chilly. So yeah, maybe winter season really is here now, and the floodlights will be on, and yeah, we'll go from there. Just done the final part, which was to put on the socks, which I have to do outside the flat, because when we play on the artificial pitches, they've got lots of little pieces of rubber on the pitches, and they go everywhere, so I'm not actually allowed to put the socks on in the house. Right, and so I've thrown it on, and I'm ready to audition for a career as a lollipop man once I finish. When I said that the socks were manky, well, I'm not actually also allowed to bring the boots even into the house. They have to stay here in the boot of the car with me because they're so smelly. But anyway, I'm here at training. I'm about to go, and it looks like they've picked the teams nearly already, so I'm a bit late. So I'm going to go and put my boots on and yeah, get running round.
Yeah, just lay a tiny bit out. Until you can find the right pressure on that ball, it'll make a great watch if you video.
The viewers are going to love that. Pumping up a football.
Episode 2 of the vlog is how to inflate and deflate.
How to deflate and inflate a football. This is now too hard for people to play with after being pumped up. So what we normally do at training is we break off into 2 teams just to play each other, and we have what's called a kickabout, which is quite a relaxed game of football really. People will normally get there a little bit early, and we'll have some shooting practice and do a warm-up as well. But usually the matches are quite good-natured and they're quite relaxed. We're a friendly bunch, and we have sessions on a Thursday night and also on Saturday mornings as well. So for different abilities, and we try to welcome everybody along and yeah, and be friendly to one another and support each other. And I think that for me makes a big difference, because you allow everyone to make progress together, and yeah, we connect and do quite well together as a team. One of the things that I also have only just picked up actually from video editing from the football training highlights was a moment that, you know, we were all playing, so it wasn't a moment I was aware of, but midway through the game, a person walking past asked one of our players about what was going on and whether he could join in, and our player told him that it's a gay team, and the reaction, I don't know if it's a malicious reaction really, but basically on the camera you'll hear that basically he's laughing that it's a gay team.
Gay team. Yes, I got this water.
It still says something about some of the attitudes that are out there towards LGBTQ people within the football world, from sort of straight, presumably straight men. Some of their attitudes, perhaps, maybe it was derisory and they were laughing at the very existence of a gay team, but why that would be such a laughing matter in a city like Brighton, I don't know. Or maybe it was just a nervous embarrassment, but that's how it was expressed. Even that's perhaps still not too good, Stephen. That's still a little bit troubling. But personally, what I like about training is just the chance to test things out and trying to get back to basics about how to play really, and just trying to make sure I do the important things right. So that's passing the ball, tackling, and that kind of thing, and just trying to pass the ball on to teammates. And I mainly just go to enjoy myself, to be honest. I think that's really the most important part of playing football. That's it for this edition of my vlog. Sorry it's taking me a little bit of time. It does take time to edit these, and I haven't got the most time in the world. But looking forward, we've got a couple of football matches to look forward to. We are welcoming the team from Yorkshire down here to Brighton in November, and then we're also going to be travelling up to Glasgow in Scotland in December, which, whilst it's an indoor match, I'm sure will be lovely. In December, Glasgow. I'm sure it'll be picture postcard stuff, but we're looking forward to that, and that's on my birthday as well, so I'll find a way perhaps to try and celebrate my birthday up there with my partner Facundo as well. So I hope you tune in to my next edition. Thank you.